out of my mouth came this theory. So you have to read it, and it's funny. But it was born out of anger. Because the only way I know how to deal with absurdity is to match it with absurdity. Things sometimes in life are so absurd. You can't look at it straight on. You can't find answers. You bang your head, and I have banged my head for so many years to try to find the answers. And sometimes you need to take it and see the absurdity in it to laugh at it, because it is that painful. There are things I touch on in the book about racism underneath. There's a whole section of why blacks and Arabs are very similar, why Arabs and Irish are very similar. But the book itself actually promotes Arabic culture to the point where it's a little disgusting. I keep pushing how great our culture is, because we do really have a great culture, and people don't know about it. And that's very dangerous. I'll get to that point in a little bit. But we have a great culture. I mean, our weddings last a week. They are fun, you know? And they're just, and all you see, the images are just disgusting. What you see is just, we're a bunch of terrorists. But let me put that on the side. It does promote Arab culture. And it serves as a nice cross-cultural tool, because people who are not ethnic will look at it, and it's almost as if maybe me and Mary are having a conversation, or me and an Arab girl are having a conversation, and the Westerner is kind of listening in on this conversation to see what we're talking about. And she kind of gets an idea of what it's like to be an Arab chick. And really, I'm very proud to be Arabic, and I'm very proud to be American. And there's good and bad in both cultures. You know, I mean, in the American culture, there's so much liberty and so much freedom, but we've got our share of crap, basically. Excuse me. Arab culture is so much fun, but don't think about privacy. You're not going to get any privacy. You know, there's just things that you're not going to do. You break away from the family. It's almost like mafioso. It's like too much. You know, nobody gossips like us. We have bizzer. We little things, right? So I think that bizzer was invented just so we could gossip, because I know everybody gossips, but we do it masterfully as an art. So there's great things, and there's really crappy things. But I think one of the messages in here is to take what you like. And I think people who are really trapped in this, especially younger people, you're all young, mature women, but younger, maybe 15-year-olds are really struggling with this. They don't know how to handle this. They don't know which way to go. And it is hard in your 20s also. But to be authentic to yourself and to be proud of your bicultural identities is really key. Some people turn it away and reject their Arab side because it's so backwards. They want nothing to do with it. It's like, I don't know, my dad is from Syria or something. They reject it. And then and a lot of other ethnicities do that too. You see it. It's like, okay, I know about your country, you know? And there's other sides that reject the American because they can't do the dual thing. They don't know how, it's hard. It's really hard. They reject the American side and become ultra Arabic. You know, they could be born in this country and then they have an accent. I'm like, how did you get an accent? You know what I'm saying? And you know, there's people who are like that. It's like, you grew up in Cleveland. I saw you when you were 5 in Cleveland. And they're like, but because they can't, they need to reject one side because it's too much to balance. They're so contradictory. You don't know which way to go. I'm a survivor. I've been through the war, so I know how it is on both sides. Let me give you a couple of examples of the sample chapters. So, how to get married without really trying. Okay, marriage is to Arabs what baseball is to Americans, just so you know that. So, marriage is what we live and die for. We just get married and have kids, and that's what we do. So the whole first part of the book is focused on, you know, getting married. So how to get married without really trying. The Life Material Olympics live from Dubai. Shanklish and the Bush Conspiracy. What to do if you're being questioned by the FBI. The Fadis, the Bassams, and the Ibrahims. Restaurants, real estate, and retail. The universal language of all immigrants. What they don't want you to know, hip-hop has its roots in the streets, in the back streets of Damascus, the sperm and the air theory. Stereo, Tubble, and the wedding, a 3-day trip to the altar. The Lebanese hairdresser, your new best friend. Why do we have arranged marriages in this day and age? And why do we marry our cousins? So those are just some of the, I'm going to read you one part from the Tubble. This will give you an example of our weddings. Now, our weddings really do last a week, and they're so much fun. So the Tubble, there's like, depending on what part in the region, little customs vary here and there, but a Tubble is like basically one of the 4 parties, like in my village. They'll have a party for the man, a party for the woman, they'll have an engagement party, then they'll have the wedding. So, and it's a big build-up. The Tubble is basically the bachelorette party. Again, it's not anything like what you're thinking. Trust me, Las Vegas, this is not. Besides, us Syrian girls know from experience what happens in the village doesn't ever stay in the village. You know what I mean? The Tubble starts out real girlish and it gets real tough and rough and tough. At the Tubble, all the women gather at the bride's father's house. They put on music and dance in the living room. During that time, there are a variety of traditional customs that make the occasion very special. One such custom is that the maid of honor paints henna on the bride's hands. The bride is also showered with the rose petals as she dances the beautiful Arabic dance. And her sittu, grandmother, her sittu stands in the middle of the room and, for lack of a better word, basically raps. I'm talking about hooks and all. I ain't saying she's Kanye West or nothing, but it's some tight-ass stuff, especially for a 90-year-old. Sittu rap for real. She'll start busting out these religious rhymes, fertility blessings, even without a beat. She'll be like, Inshallah b'tijib sabek. So that's my grandmother saying, basically, if God wills, you will get a boy. And God wills, you're going to get to see your kids, and your kids' kids, and blah, 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 blah. And if God wills every year, you know, blah, blah, blah. Awiha. Sometimes they get a little confused and get the blessings mixed up, but they mean well. So MC Little Sittu's rapping for about 10 minutes, or until she can't holler anymore, and her head starts to hurt. Then she starts bitching for somebody to get her some aspirin. After a little while, they leave the father's house and take the party out to the streets where the rest of the village joins in. The women escort the bride-to-be to the center where her fiancé has been waiting. Then they are carried on the shoulders of their strong, male, cigarette-smoking cousins. That statement is a literal one. They physically lift the bride and groom up in the air as a celebratory gesture. It's funny to watch their uneasiness. You can almost see the terror in the couple's eyes as they try to grasp each other for safety. One bad move, and they know they're face down on the ground, especially if the guys have been celebrating all day with their good buddies, Johnny Walker, Jim Beam, and you know, the real rowdy one, Jose Cuervo. Fortunately, the human airlift only lasts about 5 minutes. Then they let them down, usually intact, and the party begins. So that's just an example of our Tubble, of our wedding. They're a lot of fun. People come out in the streets and they dance and they sing. And it's what you do all summer. It's why people go to Syria or why people go to the Middle East. Because everybody's getting married. Every time you turn around, somebody's getting married. It is so much fun. So there's a lot of really fun things about our culture that I share with readers in this book. I mean, there's just, I could go on and on. I'll read you some more excerpts. I don't want to do that too much, but it's just a lot of fun. Now,